Welcome back to another episode of Pewology. This is a show where the people in the pews get to do most of the talking. I get to ask most of the questions. They get to do most of the talking, most of the responses. And the ladies are back by popular demand. The last time went so well that we said, let's do this again. And if you haven't seen some previous podcasts in the past, you can, check back with that. But welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, let's dive in. You guys ready?
Yes.
How was your New Year's? Do you have big New Year's Eve plans? Did you guys stay up for New Year's? No. What time do you go to bed New Year's?
I think 1 or 2 o'clock.
Oh, that's late.
Yeah.
I was in bed by like 10.
Aren't you always in bed by like 10?
I go to bed early. I'm not.
I stay up late and get up early.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes
I get up early.
I get up early for work, but I sleep in
Me
during
too.
the day.
I get up early, but I can stay up. Don't get me wrong. I can stay up late. I got no problem. I can sleep very little. I can function on a little bit of sleep.
Not me.
No? You
I
need
can.
what? Good solid 8 hours?
I need like a solid 7.
7 hours?
Yeah, otherwise the next day is just miserable.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine.
No.
I
I'm fine.
average 4.
A lot of times I'll stay up,
I can't.
play cards or something really late, and then just go to work the next day and just knock it out.
Oh, I would die.
No, I'm good.
If I have like 5 hours of sleep, it's probably one of the most miserable days of my life.
Really?
Yeah, I have to go home and take a nap.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. No. Did you guys stay up for the ball drop and everything? I just
Yeah.
want to say to the rest of the Vine Church members who might be watching this or anybody else from our fellowship of friends, it is great receiving all of your New Year's Eve's texts when you're asleep at midnight. I feel like everybody in the church just texted me, Happy New Year. And I was like, well.
I don't text
okay.
anybody.
No?
No.
Yeah, your husband, though.
He does the texting for everybody.
Yes.
I don't text anybody out because I feel like it's rude to text
I
anybody
warn
after
people
12.
now. I warn people now.
I'll be sleeping.
No, like any group text that he's a part of, I say, hey, listen, just a heads up, Ray will ruin this at some point. Just want to tell you in advance. Don't freak out when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm on about 75 group text messages with him and other people because he loves to put me, like, I'm like, why are you having a conversation with someone else and just adding me to it? I was like, he's like, because I feel like you should know. And I'm like, I don't care to know at all. At all.
Mute them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so good. It's so good to have you back. All of you are mothers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a daughter? Son, daughters and sons, just daughter.
And son.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
How old is-
God, I forgot.
Did you really forget
my
my son?
gosh.
Wow.
Oh my
Jonathan.
God.
Wow.
Oh my God. I haven't seen him in like 10
Forever,
years. It's
yeah.
forever. That's wild. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question that I've already asked a group of guys. And I'm always interested in the difference between the way wives and moms and women in general would handle things versus the way men digest and handle things. That's in part the exercise that we're doing. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's pretend, and for 3 of you, it's not pretend, but let's pretend, I think you can conceptualize this, and we'll reverse it. We can do it with multiple genders. But let's pretend that your daughter is 25, which is not a long stretch for you. How old's your daughter?
She's 22.
22. Okay.
21.
So imagine your daughter at
22.
25. Okay. 25. That's not too far off for you, too, right?
10 years?
10 years. Okay.
9 years?
Your daughter's 25, married. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You like your son-in-law. You like him. Like, good guy. You feel like she's nailed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's made a good choice. They've started a family. They have a child together. Okay. 25, 26, 27, whatever. Married, child, little family unit. They're living on their own. All right. Are you getting all this?
Mm-hmm.
You find out that he's cheating. The son-in-law is cheating. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You find out. Who knows how you find out? Text message. I don't know. You saw him at out somewhere, whatever.
If I saw him out somewhere, it'd be a very different ball.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same
Okay,
thing.
take it down a notch. Take it down a notch. You find out. Who knows how you find out? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Actually, how you find out has a lot to do
Has a
with
lot of-
it.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give it a scenario. Let's say you find out
Yes.
through, I don't know. Let's say
It wasn't through my eyes.
let's say it is through your eyes. Is that bad?
Oh, it's very different.
Well, maybe through your eyes, but maybe you saw in a car or something passing by or something like that. Or, whoa, what are you going to do?
I mean, if I see him in a car with another woman
Yeah.
and he's married to my daughter,
Yeah. And it's very obvious that something's going on. Do you know what I'm saying?
that would not go over well.
Okay. Or you find out through like a random text. You see his phone open and you can tell, something's going on through a text message, or maybe he text messaged you something he didn't know he's text messaging you. He thought he was text messaging his side piece or whatever. However you find out, I don't think it really matters. What do you do once you know the information?
Confront him.
Confront him.
Confront him and give him 24 hours to tell my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right?
Everybody fell in line so quickly. I love it. Like, the whole group just
Right?
like, yeah,
I mean,
that sounds
makes-
good.
that
That's
makes
a
the
good
most
one.
sense.
I
No,
like that.
I'm kind of one of those, like, I would definitely tell Stephanie first.
You
for
would tell your
sure.
daughter
I
first.
would tell her.
Okay.
And then confront him because it's their problem. It's something that they're going to have to deal with. Whether, yes, it's going to hurt her, but it's one of those walk of lives and one of those things that you're going to have to deal with and whatnot.
Mm.
So let them deal with it on their own. Let her know, hey, I'm here. I have your back. I'll, do whatever you want me to. But it's your life. It's what you guys have to do. And
So you would tell her first.
oh, absolutely. I would
And
tell
you
her
would
first.
tell the son-in-law.
I would tell the son-in-law first and just say, listen, you got 24 hours to tell her before I tell her.
Yeah.
And if I tell her, it's not gonna come out very nice. You know what I mean?
How would it come out?
Because I would be very, very not, hey, stick it out and I would be like, I gave him the opportunity to tell you. I found out I gave him the opportunity to tell you. He didn't tell you, which means that he's not nearly as much of a good guy as I thought he was. Because if you're going to let your mother-in-law tell, on behalf of you when you've done something, I feel like that's not a sign of a good character. If you made the mistake or whatever the case would be, own up to it. Do what it's black and white. There's no gray area when it comes to that. It's either it happened or it didn't happen.
You like her idea better than the other one?
I will be very passive aggressive with him in front of her. Very passive aggressive.
That's such an honest answer. What does that look like?
Like hint, hint, wink, wink. Like,
Okay.
yes, just throwing.
Oh, that
hints.
would be so much fun.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
would be.
So you would feel like
very
you could
sarcastic and
you could force it out of him in a passive aggressive way.
yeah, or
Okay.
make her
Or
create doubts in her.
Yeah.
To make her open her eyes. Like
Okay.
there's something going on, and I know about it. So you want to ask me? I'll tell you.
Oh, okay. Almost like a
But-
pass. Okay, like back door. You take the back door approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like to the point where he's like, something, and you're like, do
make
I?
him nervous.
Do I know something?
Is there anything I should be knowing?
Would you like to tell me something?
Okay.
Yeah, that's fun. That
That's
sounds like
fun.
so much more fun.
Oh, that sounds like. And what do you like out of these three options?
I definitely like the passive aggressive because that's
Yeah.
definitely something that you would enjoy doing.
Yeah.
That is most definitely. But
Okay.
now let's go back real quick to
Okay.
the either I see him with my own eyes or somebody tells me.
Okay.
So now if I see it with my own eyes, I'm definitely going to confront it
Right. At that
at
moment.
that very
At that
moment.
moment.
At
What
that
would you?
very
But
moment.
what would be the confronting?
See, but I'd be very nice about it
Oh, you'd be
first.
nice
I'd be nice about it.
Okay.
Hey, how are you? How you doing? Who's this? Like, what's going on here?
You're so much nicer.
So-
Who is this?
Who is this and what's going on?
This skank, right?
But you got to embarrass him.
Is this
No,
your
no.
sneaky link? Is that
Yeah.
what this is?
But no, I mean, that's the difference. Now, if I find out through somebody, then of course, yeah, I'm going to confront my son-in-law first, message him, talk to him, and find out. Now, of course, if he's going to go around, how they go around the bush, whatever the
Yeah.
case is,
Mhm.
they're not going to tell you the truth right then
Yeah.
and there. And then at that point, of course, I'm going to talk to my daughter and I'm going to let her know, hey, something's going on.
Right.
And I asked him to tell you, and,
He didn't tell you.
so.
Okay. Let me add a layer of complication. The whether or not you were going to go passive, you're going to go aggressive, you're going to go daughter first or the son-in-law first or whatever, interjecting could mean there's a potential by interjecting that things don't go well. That causes the ultimate breakup. And now you've got a daughter and a grandchild coming back to your home to live.
You already know my
Yeah, I was about to
answer.
say. I mean, I got like 85 kids. What the hell's one more? Come on.
My door will always, always, always be open for the kids, no matter what the situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not down for all that though.
No.
What do you mean?
No, there's
There's a limit?
there's a fine line.
There's a son.
There's a fine line. There's a line for me.
Mm-mm.
There's a line for you.
Yeah, no, I'm not about that.
I'm not about that life?
No,
You can't raise him forever?
no.
What would
No.
be the line for you? Like,
Like if there's a
get back out there
if
and
there's
get husband number 2?
if there's a situation,
Okay.
like this would be considered a situation,
Yeah.
then by all means, you need some place to go. I will never. Will never be forced to stay in something, especially something like that.
Yeah.
Then you can come home for a time being.
Yeah.
This isn't your forever home.
Okay.
Like you still need to.
But it could take a while.
You're still an adult. You're still a mother.
It could take a while.
You got things you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta work it out.
It could take a while.
I mean, there's also limits. Like you're not staying with me for 5 years because you can't get it together.
Okay.
Like, hey, listen, you need a place to stay. You've got a year. In a year, you should be able to pull it together in a year.
You have a young child.
Young child or not.
Mhm.
If you having that baby, you better be prepared for whatever it is that's coming for it. That's just me.
Okay. So now you participated in the breakup, caused the financial problem, and now they're at
I
home. They
didn't
only get a year to
participate in the
solve it.
No. Listen.
What?
At the end of the day, I'm not taking credit for that. That's not my responsibility. That's
Okay.
your man's responsibility
Okay.
for doing whatever it is that he did. That's
Okay.
his problem, not my
Yeah.
problem.
Okay.
If you wouldn't be doing what you weren't supposed to be doing, then you didn't have to worry about any of this.
Okay. Okay. It was interesting that no one said, like, I'll give you another chance to rethink this. No one said that they'd converse with their husband about it.
No.
No, I wouldn't have to.
Christmas.
I wouldn't have to ask.
No.
It was so quick.
No.
I
They're
wouldn't
like,
have to-
nope.
I
not
wouldn't
gonna
have
do
to ask Ray.
Yeah, but why would
No.
we have to ask them? And why would we even have to discuss it? I found this out. I'm going to confront him, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's already to that point. Like, that's just it. I'm going to confront him.
Telling Ray something like this happening would not make the situation better.
No.
Under any circumstances. That would be very much worse. If I were to handle things or to go home and be like, "Hey Ray, guess what? Hey, so, Gabby or Yaya's husband cheated on them." Ray would not be a man of like, "Oh, well, let's all sit down and have a conversation." Ray would fly off the handle
Mhm.
Okay.
like a psycho. Like I would have to stand at the front door and be like, "This is not a good idea. I'm going to need you to go back to the couch and sit down. Let them handle it themselves."
What if the response from the spouse was, "Hey, I'm not sure this is any of our business."
It is my business
How?
because it's.
Our child.
See, this isn't fair because
A daughter
that's my
is-
kid.
A daughter doesn't stop being a daughter just because she's an adult.
Mhm.
She's always a daughter. She's always somebody that I will take care of regardless.
She is.
Yes.
But she's also one with a man.
That's
They're
cheating
one.
on her.
They're one.
Well, if he's cheating
left
on
your home,
her,
And they've created another home, and they're one before God.
if he is cheating on her,
Yeah.
he broke those vows. So
Sure.
so they're
still
not
married.
but they're legally speaking, a paper doesn't hold that much
Spiritually
weight.
still married.
No, because he broke that
Every
promise.
time somebody cheats, they're not married anymore?
They broke that promise before God. They're being unfaithful.
Sure, but they're still married.
But she's still my daughter. And she's been my daughter since the day she was born. That was long before she got married. So she's still my daughter, my flesh, my blood. So she's the
And I'm
priority.
going to do anything to protect her.
Mm-hmm. But now, if
Hmm.
she turns around and she forgives him, which is obviously there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But if he does it again and she learns that he does it again and she chooses to still continue in that path,
Okay.
then there's not much I can do. Now at this point, I have to literally bring myself back
Mhm.
because there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much that you can talk to them about. There's only so much that you can be like, hey, maybe you forgive him the first time.
What happens to, she's my daughter. She's always been my
Oh, no,
daughter.
she's always going to be. Obviously, yes, that's the love of my life. She's always going to be my child.
Okay.
Mhm.
But at some point in time, you have to say, okay,
There's a
if
line.
he's going to do it again and you're still going to forgive him, that's you. I can't do much to help you in that situation. I can only tell you my door's always open.
I'm
If
here.
something happens, I'm here for you. But to continuously get in the way, and that's going to cause friction between me and my daughter
Mhm.
at that point in time.
Okay.
And that's the last thing that you want. You don't want your daughter to push you away because the man in her life is being a jerk or he's doing what he's not supposed to be doing.
Right.
At that point, I could just say, I'm here for you. My door's
What if
always
the
open.
daughter says, that's none of your business?
And you're
Then
right.
it's,
Yeah.
I mean, you walk away
And
and
that's
you
it.
just,
That's it. It's her choice.
All right, good luck. Let me know how that works out for you.
Okay.
What I have told my child is a one package deal. If I'm not good for give you an advice, I'm not good for helping you out of the trouble either. So
So if you don't take my advice, then don't expect me
Maybe
to help.
not even take it, just more or less listen to it at least,
on this particular situation, if she continues in that vicious cycle, then don't expect me to get you out of the hole if that is your choice over and over again.
I don't know. I still would help out.
What do you mean? But I mean, no one gives yourselves, nobody in the panel thinks to themselves, this might be considered at some point interjecting myself into a private matter between a married couple.
But a private matter, by all means, a private matter. But the problem is this: if your daughter doesn't know that the private matter is even existing,
Right.
so how are they to fix it?
Well, let me get, that's interesting that you said that. It's also interesting to me, nobody in the panel said that it's not like, it doesn't sound like any of you would entertain the idea of saying to the son-in-law, hey, I know this has happened. This needs to stop. You need to shape up.
And leave
But
it a
that's what-
secret.
That's what
from your-
Sam said.
That's
But
what I
that's what
said.
Sam said, because Sam said,
No,
I'll
and
give you
leave it a
24.
secret.
No.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Sorry. Can't do
Mm-mm.
that.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Really? You want to think about it a little longer?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
How about if it happens the
Secrets
other
make
way?
you sick.
Yes.
Huh.
How about if it happens the other way around, that I know that he's cheating on her and then eventually she learns, hey,
Finds out
Mom,
and-
you knew this 3 months ago. Why you didn't tell me
Mhm.
then? Why you can holding and defending him, covering for him instead of protecting me that I'm your daughter.
Yeah, that
Ooh.
would, I think that would cause a whole
Ooh.
other,
Oh yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I would never put myself in a situation where my daughter would ever think that she was being one-upped by someone else.
Well, I don't think it's one up. I think about it from this angle, like, hey, I've said my piece. This needs to stop. He's saying it's going to stop. It's a mistake.
Sure.
Okay, hold on. By saying something, by letting the cat out of the bag,
Mm-hmm.
you ensure that there's going to be pain. You ensure it.
Mm-hmm.
By trusting that he's going to shape up, and sometimes that happens, you are at least presenting the possibility that she could have a life without that pain.
No.
I mean, those are all choices that they have to make between the two of them on how they handle it.
Oh, so then it's a private matter?
Well, it's a private matter between the two of them. At the end of the day, the second that he steps out of his marriage, it's no longer a private matter between them because he's walking away in public. If someone saw them, then guess what? It's no longer a private matter. Now it's a public matter. So now my daughter's looking like a fool walking out on the street when holding her hands with her husband, thinking that she's the only one doing that.
Mm.
That's a problem for me.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah.
big problem for me because now it's not, oh, well, it's just my daughter, in this marriage. And all of a sudden now this man is doing things that he's not supposed to be doing. And that's why I said I would go to him first and say, listen, you need to have a conversation with her. And then you guys can handle it however you want to handle it from that point forward. Whatever she decides to do or how they work it out is their business. At that point in time, I've already done my piece. I've told him he's got time to give it to her. Because just like Lourdes said, I would never in a million years want my daughter, if I went to him and said, oh, well, you need to stop doing this. And he's like, oh, okay, I won't do it anymore. So now he knows that I know. And now all of a sudden, 3 months down the road, she actually catches him. And he's like, oh, well, your mom knew 3 months ago when I did it, when it started to begin with. That pain, it would be so much worse for my daughter to know that I
Betray her.
never told her
That's a betrayal.
and kept a secret from her.
Absolutely.
That would be so much more pain for her than finding out that her husband cheated on her.
No.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You don't think so?
No.
Absolutely.
You don't have an X
100%.
chromosome. You have a Y chromosome. So
Facts.
you will not
No,
understand
I
that.
think you're underestimating the idea that the idea that I'm presenting. What if she went the whole rest of her life, never found out, and lived happy?
I mean,
No.
what are those chances?
That could happen.
I have that a lot.
Really?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
the-
but then I have to live with the fact that I knew about it
And
and
the-
I never said anything to her. So
No.
I have to literally, through Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving,
Look
watch
this guy in
them,
the face.
look him in the face and know
be
what
thankful
you
that he
did.
pulled his crap together.
Pulled
and
his crap
treated her
together.
good
First of
and
all,
took
but
care
I
of her.
kept the
Listen, he
secret from
fell
my
into
daughter.
another woman. That's not pulling your crap together.
That he pulled his crap together
Blah, blah, blah.
and did a whole life and a marriage.
No. There's
Let
no
me
way.
I have plenty of examples. I can give you a couple of literal examples.
Mistakes can happen, but you also can't be blinded to it.
I think the point
Well,
is
here's-
that you
here's
are
the point.
saying that is a mother protecting a daughter. If marriages fall and they come back together, that's fantastic, fine, dandy, God bless them. But it's a daughter and a mother is going to protect the daughter regardless.
And a marriage,
And that's the main point. The marriage, if they want to work it out, fine. If nobody else find out, fine. But if it's my daughter, I'm going to do my best to protect her and let her do whatever she wants with her life after that.
I think that's what I'm saying on the other way. What if the protecting thing, the sacrificial thing, is to not tell her and she live happy?
but the problem is this: then she's
You keep
in a
shaking your
marriage.
head no, but I'm asking you. That is the scenario I'm presenting.
But it's
you.
what I'm telling
Why is that not the wise choice?
because then she's living a lie. She's in a marriage based off of a lie.
And she's happy. Everybody lives a little bit of a lie. Nobody's living in complete truth down here.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
There's
do
She
you,
still-
wakes up
I can
every day
never-
thinking, this is my guy. He loves me. This is the father of my kid. And she doesn't have to go to bed every night doubting his fidelity.
I could never live with myself to keep that secret.
So you
Thank
couldn't
you.
make the sacrifice for your daughter is what you're saying.
No.
Okay. That's fair.
If you
At
want to
least,
call,
at least you answered it honestly.
I don't think it's
So it's not
fact.
about protecting her. It's about protecting you.
I couldn't go to the grave. Like I couldn't.
but you're taking a chance,
say,
though.
Sure.
But you're taking a chance
Sure.
that
But the chance- but
he
the-
pulls it together
the-
or doesn't pull it
But
together.
think about it. The chance is he pulls it together, right? That's a possibility. If he doesn't, then I can act.
Yeah, but then at this point in time, but now my daughter knows that I've known for this much time
My
and I
point.
never told her, which is more pain for her. So now not only did she
I
just
don't
find
think
out
so.
that her husband cheated on her, now she found out that I've known and never said anything about it.
No, I know. But trust me, guys, I'm not making this up. I know a lot of people post infidelity that say, the people who got cheated on, that say, I wish I had never found out.
Yeah.
I was very happy
Not knowing.
not knowing, living
but still,
But you're
there's
still,
no way.
but you're still
Ignorance is
taking, yeah, but
bliss.
you're still
Yeah.
taking a chance. You're still taking a chance of one not
Absolutely.
happening or,
But-
or the other.
But the other ensures there is no chance.
I don't know. I think
No,
I think that I
I
think my
don't-
daughter would be more upset knowing that I knew and didn't tell her.
Or she does her whole life happy and
But am I willing to put my trust in this douche who already cheated on my daughter to begin with?
Yes.
Facts.
Facts.
it's definitely a chance. I'm not saying that
Those are high hopes.
I'm not saying that it is a for sure thing. I'm saying that by acting and interjecting into a relationship that is, whether you like it or not, a oneness private to them, you ensure the outcome. By not acting,
I'm taking a chance that
you
it
get
might
the
turn out
chance
perfectly
that he pulls it together and treats her good.
and never does it again.
You know, in 2025 is very, very, very hard to find anything private.
Yes.
That's
There
fair.
is very little things that are private.
I mean, private in the sense of like, hey, nothing's private. Where all of us have public access to ourselves. But I expect, just as you would probably expect, that there are certain things about your marriage that we keep between us and maintain in privacy.
That's exactly my point. There isn't.
There's
you don't have
no
anything private
there-
with your spouse.
Have you met my husband?
I would
A
think,
year and a half ago, Ray posted the most awful thing in the entire universe that I almost ran him over with my car.
Fair.
And that was the most like horrible thing that I literally, and to be honest with you, after that, I was very surprised at the forgiveness that came after that, because I didn't think that I would ever, because I'm not a public person,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say I'm a private person. I'm a public person to my friends and my family,
Sure.
but I'm not a public like as in like social media or public where people know what like my business outside of my circle, I would say.
Yeah.
Where my husband, on the other hand, goes the complete opposite direction, where he shares everything that happens in our household.
Yeah.
Every day. So my problem is that like in those instances where you have, like things that are shared, or she said there's nothing that's private. There's very few things nowadays that are private unless you keep it real.
I think there's a lot that's
tight
private.
knit.
I think there's a lot that's private, and I think that the reason that your husband received tremendous amount of backlash was because that he took something that should be private and made it public. That's what
Absolutely.
every man said to him.
Yes.
You took something private and made it public, and that needs to end now.
Mm.
I'm just telling you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what happened. I was there.
She lived it.
I'm just bringing it up
I
to you to
lived
say
it.
it's interesting. You all like, so it was like, hey, I don't consult anybody. I don't consult the person I'm one with. I don't consider the other person's oneness. I consider the highest consultation is what I can live with, not what they would have to live with.
I don't know. Like I said, I would have a very hard time with having to trust the fact that this person who took vows with my daughter to begin with and said that would never happen, then broke those vows right from the jump. And now I'm going to have to trust in the fact that they're not going to go ahead and turn around and do it again.
They might.
They very well may.
They may.
This is a good possibility.
Think a good possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, track record's not great so far.
Not so good. So if that's the case, now I have to turn around and I have to put trust in this dude who I'm not really all that
I don't
keen
disagree
about.
with you.
I
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying,
but I have to take
you're
the
doing
chance
that for the sake
of my
your
daughter.
But I'm also telling her for the sake of her too.
No, you're telling her to relieve your own potential
Your
pain
own
in the
crap.
future.
I'm not going to cover
Yeah,
up for
because you're literally
somebody
like
else.
carrying it on your shoulders and you're like, hey, there you go. You can have that back.
Let me give you the
I'm
logic
not-
one more time.
I'm not going to cover up for somebody else's lie.
Let me give you the logic.
I'm not going to be
It's
complicit.
not about covering up.
The
It's about
Bible
not
says-
interjecting.
The Bible says that if you cover up lies, you become cahoots with that person.
Think of,
So you are co-participant of that lie by
Ooh.
covering it up.
listen to me.
Mic drop.
I am listening.
I'm presenting you a specific case. If you interject,
Mm-hmm.
the outcome is
Definite.
definite, fixed. It's a fixed outcome.
She has to
But
deal
I
with it
did
face
not-
to face.
There you go. She will never be the same.
No,
It'll never be the
That's
same.
not
No.
true.
It'll never be the
trust me.
same.
It's true.
It'll never be the same.
It'll never be fully the same.
It could be better, actually.
That's
I-
what people say when they haven't been through pain like that.
Well, I know at least 2 couples that have been through it, and they're better and stronger than ever.
You know, 2 couples that have been through it that say
And
they're
I'm not
better.
a counselor, praise
Yeah,
God.
they say they're stronger than ever. But usually, let's not get off track. Take, for example, it's a fixed outcome. I'm presenting you an option where the outcome could be the protection and positive outcome. You're taking that off the table. I'm taking fixed outcome. I'm choosing fixed outcome for the possibility of, and I'm admitting it, ignorance is bliss. Done.
Okay, you're talking about my daughter. If it was somebody else, if it was even my sisters, and I said, okay, you can handle it, go for it. But if it's my child,
Mm.
and I actually live in a very similar situation, and I told my child, either you fix it or I'll fix it. And I told him that.
Yeah. Let's flip it. Let's flip it one more time. What if it's your son?
I will murder him.
Not your son-in-law, it's your son cheating.
Again, murder.
I mean, I am still, it depends on the relationship I have. Now, Danny and I, Alec's wife, have a really good relationship, and I have a really good relationship with Alec. So I would obviously confront him first and say, either you do it or I'm going to do it.
Tell her.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I hope and pray that I've taught them better than that to never have to be in that situation. But still, in that sense, I tell my child first, this is your one and only chance. You open your mouth or my mouth is going to be open and you will not like what I have to say.
So you would interject again
Mm-hmm.
if it was your son. Would you interject if it was your son cheating?
Yeah.
You'd tell him or her
I would tell him.
to tell her?
Mm-hmm.
Or to fix a problem.
Yeah.
Even
Tell
if
him to tell her?
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't hide it.
You can't hide that. That's not something that you can
Okay, so
hide.
here's the deal. Like in our household, Ray says this all the time, and he says that lies make you sick. That holding that kind of stuff in literally just makes you sick. So and that's all part of his program and everything else. So that's part of their thing that they say all the time. So one of his big things is like the lies. There's no lies. Like when you lie, all it does is just make things worse. And the problem is that you gotta everything's gotta be on a clean slate. So the problem with that is that in instances like this where you have people, and yes, you may have kids involved, you may have your kids, somebody else's kid, whatever it is that are involved in this. I mean, like that's regardless of how you're working it, no matter how you word it one way or another. Yes. Do I want my daughter to be hurt? Absolutely not. Do I want my son to be hurt? No. Do I want my in-laws to be hurt, or my daughter-in-law, my son-in-law, anybody to be hurt by cheating? No, absolutely not. But at the end of the day, I also don't want like that kind of stuff. That's not stuff that just goes away. Even if you're a cheater. I mean, I was a cheater. I cheated when I was in high school, but but not in marriage. But at the end of the day, all that stuff that's not you can't build anything off of a lie.
That's really.
I don't think you can build anything. You can't build anything off of a lie and it be. Once you've done something, once a man has slept with another woman outside of his marriage, I feel like that changes things. Once a woman has slept with a man outside of her marriage, that changes. It changes your dynamic. It changes a lot of stuff. It changes about your, the way that you react to things. It changes the way that you feel about things. It's, it can trigger things. So say he cheats on, my son cheats on his wife or whatever. And then I come to him and tell him, hey, listen, that's not okay. Like, it's not okay. I didn't teach you how to be like that. That's not the kind of man you want to be.
If he says, hey, mom, listen, you're right. I made a horrible mistake. It's never going to happen again. I'll shape up. I can't break her heart.
I still have to say.
Wait a minute. She's pausing way too long. Yeah.
Well, it's my son, so I have a little bit more. I think I would have a little bit more knowledge as to what happens,
You'd consider it.
Well, no, it's not that I would consider it. With my son-in-law, I don't have, I wouldn't have.
It's your son, though. Would you consider it then?
Mm-mm.
No.
I still say, you say something or I'm going to say something.
Yeah, because that's not fair. You can't.
Yeah, because it's at the end of the day, you can't build anything off of that.
I think that's completely untrue.
Why?
I have plenty of couples, some here, but plenty of couples. I'll give you one example. I have a couple that has multiple kids together. The husband had a very brief, short physical relationship with a previous girlfriend during their first year of marriage. They've been married for over 20 years now. She found out 18 years into the marriage, and it's been nothing but a disaster. So 18 years of goodness has been now eclipsed by an act he did 18 years ago.
But that's also something that has been...
It's a lie.
Yeah, and it's
They were
coming
very
back.
happy.
I understand that they
Yeah.
were very happy, but
But
now
she
she
has
find
to-
I'm a true believer that it always comes out.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't always come out.
The dirt always comes out one
No,
way or
it
another.
doesn't.
What happens if they were walking down the street and all of a sudden this lady comes up and they were like, "Oh yeah, 18 years ago, blah 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 blah," because
that
she's
does
a
happen.
miserable whatever, and
That
she
does
wanted
happen.
to ruin their relationship.
That does happen.
And now look at them.
But that doesn't always happen.
Well,
Many
nobody can
times,
say always.
many
anything.
times somebody makes a choice, a bad choice, like infidelity. It's that by some act of God, it is not revealed publicly.
Mm.
They change their behavior and their life.
But still, it would hurt me more to live 18 years, happy, and then come back and find out. I'd rather know the truth, like when it happens or shortly after, than to
I don't think
find
you're
out.
thinking
Okay,
it through.
hold on a second. Hold on.
Think about this situation I just gave you. This was a real life situation.
Yeah, I
The
understand.
girl
but
now who found out, it's caused nothing but a disaster, and it's going to leave kids inside a divorce and a bunch of other things, or growing up in a home that's tremendously stressed by this pressure. And you're acting like if she found out year one, she'd be fine. He did
But-
18 great years
but
taking care of her.
then
She
she
can't even
could've-
see that anymore.
she could have either
Because
worked
it's all
through it or
tainted.
she could have left.
Because all of that is tainted. All of that is tainted.
All that's tainted by what? What? Paying for
No,
you,
it's just-
taking
it's
care
tainted.
of you, sacrificing for you,
It's
providing
tainted.
for you for 18 years.
Yeah, because
Listen.
he's covering up a lie.
Everybody covers up lies.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I was married.
There's nobody living in 100% truth.
He says it with a creepy laugh.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's think about how unreasonable that is. No one is 100% transparent with any other person ever.
But you are telling me it's my child.
So it's your
And
son.
it's over my shoulders. If I see that, I will confront him. It's my child. It's not you. It's not my neighbor. It's not my cousin.
But if it's your son and he says,
my
"Mom,
child,"
mistake, horrible,
Because
won't do it again," I'm gonna get my life straight.
because I raised him, and I know who he is, and I know he knows better.
Okay.
If it's something that happens to you, and I don't know you, I didn't raise you, I met you yesterday, good luck with that. I don't feel responsible for that. But if it's my child, that is a completely different ball game.
Yeah, but if it's your child and he says, "Yes, I've made a horrible mistake, but I'm not going to do it again," you wouldn't consider holding that in confidence.
If he talks to me about it, we will keep it in confidence if he says that he won't do it again. But I got to tell him, I'm not going to continue covering up this life for you. Everybody has.
So wait a minute, hold on. If he says he won't do it again,
if he
you
tells-
keep it in confidence
Yes. Yes, I will.
for him,
Yes, for him.
but not for the daughter-in-law.
Not for the daughter-in-law, no. It's not my child.
I still would. I'm still stuck on like you say it or I say it. I feel like it should be confronted and taken care of then.
What do you think? What do you think? You've already got one that's crossed the line here. I think you're ready to cross the line too.
I'm with Colleen on this one.
I think you're with Colleen,
I
but I
would-
think she's with Lourdes.
I feel
Yeah,
like I would have
no.
I would have a very hard time. If my son came to me and said, "Mom, this was a mistake," and and I felt like he was very genuine in what he was saying. I truly do believe that people can make mistakes. I know that.
Okay, so then what happens with the daughter and the son-in-law?
like she said, that's not my kid. It's not the same.
See, but that's the thing, though. That's just like a
Feels like a little bit of a double standard.
yeah. It's
like
just it is a double
moral-
standard
It's like a
because if
moral
you think
compass
about it,
sort of thing where I should probably do it for one, do for all. But
no, I would have
I
to.
mean,
do
I
it
think
for both.
I feel like I would. If it was my daughter and my son, I mean, if it was my daughter and my son-in-law was cheating on my daughter, I would, I would confront it the way that I stated. I would go to him and say, "Hey, listen, you have no choice. You have to tell her."
This is your son or your son-in-law?
My son-in-law
Oh.
to my daughter. But then if it was my son cheating and he was the one that was actually cheating and he was like, "Hey, listen, like I said, it's a 50-50 shot," kind of like what I said to you earlier. This douchebag goes and cheats on my daughter and I'm supposed to just think that he's not going to do it again. I don't know his intentions. Like Lourdes said, I didn't raise him. But if my son comes to me and says, Mom, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm never going to do it again. I'll know his intentions.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I would know his intentions better than I would someone who I didn't raise.
Okay.
I would have a lot more trust in what he would say, I would feel like, than my son-in-law.
But what if your son-in-law, let's say you've known your son-in-law for about 7 years. Let's say they were high school sweethearts and they just ended up getting
You're making
married.
this a lot worse, Jess. You're making this a lot
I'm
worse.
just saying because it's like a double standard. It really
it totally is. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. What if your son-in-law turned around and said, I made a huge mistake. I'll never do it again. Just like your son came to you and said it. But you've known this kid since they were in high school together. Let's just
don't
say.
you see the inherent emotional manipulation that you're acting as if because he's my son and I'm closer to him, I would know better. But all psychology and statistics would tell you that because he's your son and closer to you, he can manipulate you.
Well, that's true.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Just, it's a double standard, and I would literally do the same for both. So it's either you say something or I'm going to say it.
Listen,
I don't look at it.
Line over there.
here's my problem. Right, as you're walking through this and you're talking through it, this is how what keeps coming into my mind. Right. So I was married before and then I got divorced. My ex-husband had an affair with my best friend right under my nose for like 4 months. I had no idea it was happening. Well, I shouldn't say I had no idea. I had little inklings here and there that something was happening. I just couldn't like catch him. I couldn't get like 100% proof, but I knew something was up. Something was going. Now, we were together for 6 years prior to me finding that out. The day that I found that out, everything that had happened previous to that was tainted. Every time he said he loved me, every time, anytime he said that I was beautiful, anytime anything ever, like any memory that I had was 100% tainted by everything.
Sure.
Everything that because of this one moment. So earlier you were talking about this guy.
Yeah.
Who
Very different story though.
is it though?
It's 18 years of him financially
Lies.
and physically, emotionally being great.
But now
and putting her first.
But now hold on a
But
second.
he's
But now
putting
his
her-
wife.
He's
but now
putting her
his
first
wife
what?
because he cheated on her and he feels like he has to.
No, he's putting her first because he loves her.
Yeah, but
And
in
he
his,
made a
if
mistake.
he, yeah, but in
and
his
he
wife,
is more propelled by that mistake to be better.
but in his wife's mind, the second she found that he had an affair, the first thing that came to her mind was every time he kissed me, every time he said I was beautiful, he didn't want me, he wanted her. So all of that was tainted.
For 18 years, he just kept wanting.
Right.
He kept playing house with a woman he
doesn't
didn't
matter.
want to be with.
Well, maybe because then you turn around from a woman's standpoint, then we analyze the whole thing. We analyze all the shit and we're like, okay, well
I
now,
think you're proving my point.
yeah, we're
Wouldn't
crazy.
it be better just to leave you in ignorance than never find out?
Maybe.
How is that not better?
But that's the problem is that a woman will turn around and now we analyze everything and we're like, okay, well, he had an affair with her. Well, did she turn around and say to him, hey, I don't want to have a relationship with you anymore? Is that a question that I even want to ask? Is it because she doesn't want him? So then he turned around and stayed with me instead and has stuck it out for the last 18 years? These are the things that go through our head when we find these things out.
Sam,
Wouldn't it be nice not to find that out?
Well,
Sam, when you found out that he was cheating on you, did you know any friends that knew about it, didn't tell you?
no.
Her best friend.
You're so mean.
That was cold-hearted.
It's no problem.
All right, let me give you one more. I'll give you one more story, and then I got one more question. So I got another story. This is a true story. I got a friend who was married 20 plus years, raised kids, had adult kids at the time. I think they were about to be empty nesters. Okay. He became a Christian late in life, like in his 50s. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Has a one-on-one with the pastor, and during his conversion experience, admits that in the first year of their marriage, he was unfaithful. The pastor did exactly what you guys are saying. Got to be no lies or secrets. Secrets are make you sick. Blah blah blah. He told her marriage over within months.
I think that was an excuse.
Yeah,
she was looking for.
yeah, she was looking for an excuse to pull the trigger, and she was like, "Bye bye."
Could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm just saying up into that point, no plans for a divorce. Raised kids, did a whole life together, about to retire together.
But it all depends on the situation in your life that you're in your, like, how you had been living. Maybe she was unhappy for however many years and she just lived with him because of that's how they do life, you know?
Yeah, that was just
Maybe she
easier.
wasn't.
Or maybe she was just waiting for them to
But
be empty
everybody's-
nesters.
Yeah, maybe she was waiting for
different.
She was just
Or
waiting.
maybe she wasn't.
Maybe she was.
Maybe she was really happy.
I mean, but to let it go so
Yeah,
quickly,
but if she was
really happy.
Yeah, if she was really
Nah.
happy to pull the
Well,
trigger and let it go that
That's
quick.
the funny thing.
it's funny.
I can't think of a story where one of two outcomes doesn't happen. In most of the experiences, either it implodes internally in the relationship, disintegrates into something awful, or one of the person cheated on and leaves. The outcome is always fixed in one way. It's going to be painful.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be
That's
pain.
life. Life is painful.
Absolutely.
Marriage
that's
is
life.
painful.
Absolutely.
Hello, marriage is the worst kind of pain.
Okay, take it down a notch. Gee, Nick. I don't know if it's the worst kind of pain.
It is her truth.
I mean, it's
We
yeah.
have to
I mean,
honor
No,
her
there's
truth.
no her truth. Let's stop right there.
That's
Okay.
her-
Gee, man.
I mean,
take
you
it
know,
easy, Oprah.
I mean, you have every marriage has their moments. They have their ups and their downs. And when you're in a down in a marriage, it's horrible. A down, any type of down in your marriage is misery.
I don't disagree.
You're living side by side with someone that either you can't stand or they can't stand you, or you can't seem to get along, or
Can I get an amen from the congregation?
I mean, that's just the way that it goes. And
I don't
those
disagree.
moments are horrible.
I don't disagree.
So, I mean, there's bad and there's good, but you just
You don't see the potential good in saying, okay, I've done something horrible here.
keep it to myself.
If I kept it to myself, or if anybody else that knows kept it to themselves, and I made good choices, that I could spare people a lot of pain here. I'm going to be in pain knowing that I've done this. I have to live with this guilt, but it could be a blessing to the other person.
So, okay, I know that this sounds really crazy, and there's information that goes along with this, but we'll just make this easy.
Can't wait to hear this.
So for many years between Ray and I always said to him that if he ever had an affair on me,
Yeah.
I didn't want to know.
Yeah.
I always said to him, I was like, if you ever cheat on me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? And I said, because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just don't want to know.
Yeah.
If you don't tell me, then
Kind of the argument I'm making.
yeah,
Mhm.
without a shadow of a doubt. That's why we've talked about this like often, not often enough, but like quite a few times in the 16 years that we've been married. And I've said to him very blatantly, like, I would not want to know. And he's like, I would want to know. And I'm like, well, I don't like, if that ever happens, I would just rather you, and you've decided that it was a mistake and it's not going to happen again. I would just rather you just not tell me, because I would rather be in, what did you call it?
Bliss. Ignorance.
Ignorant bliss. I would be much happier being in ignorant bliss than if like, but that's if people didn't know outside. Like, I also don't want to be walking around and
But that's what-
everybody
yeah.
else knows except for me. Then I just look like an idiot.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah.
Like, what if,
then,
like,
then,
okay,
yeah,
later
then I
on
just look
you
like an
found
idiot.
out.
But if it's something that like didn't, like, it happened in someplace else and it was just between him and one other person and no one else knows in our either circle or there's like no chance that we would ever run into this person or anything like that, then you want to know what? Just don't tell me. So I don't care.
Mm.
Not that I don't care, but I would just rather not know. Personally. But he says that he would want to know.
See, everybody always asks me, what's your advice for having such a long marriage?
Okay.
Honesty.
Honesty. Okay.
Honesty. Because you can work through anything good or bad, whether like bad could be bad, but you could also come up. Dell and I have gone through some shit
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And look at where we are now.
Yeah.
25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah.
But it's due to honesty on
Mhm.
both ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me to say, that's my best advice, and then to not tell my kids that, that their significant others cheated on them? Mm-mm. Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
Not going to happen.
Not gonna happen. Okay.
Because like in how I explain it, every story has ups and downs. Life has ups and downs, and you're going to go through the thickest of stuff, but you can come out on top.
Not always.
Not always, but
That's
Someone's
absolutely
coming
not
out on
promised. It's beautiful that you've come out on top. You know what I'm saying?
but it's
in
all
this
in how you
relationship.
make of it.
Not always. Not always. Because that's the really tough thing about relationships, right? Is you can only do as much as it depends on you. You. You can't control them. You can only do you.
Amen to that.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, I think you're right in this aspect is that, hey, a relationship can and many times does go through very traumatic events. If you live together long enough, there's enough friction, enough life experience, and enough pain and enough stuff in this broken world that you're going to experience something.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But every time you get to one of those bumps in the road, the choices that are made, you're only in control of 50% of those choices. You know what I mean? You can only do you. And sometimes people make choices that are,
Not what you're expecting.
well, they're relational. From a relational standpoint, they're terminal. Do you know what I'm saying? So whether that's in business, sometimes in parenting, sometimes in friendships, we would like to believe in an idealistic world that anything that could possibly happen, we would be fine, or we'd be able to work through. Like, it's a nice thing to say. It's a bumper sticker. It's like, hey, anything that happen, we'll work through it. No, sometimes crazy stuff goes on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People die. People run off. People do crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. I think I thought that until this moment. And then it's like, I think for the grand majority of things, you're right. You're right. The everyday, the mundane, the painful, the health crisis, the financial crisis, the emotional disconnect, all the hard times, all this typical relational stuff, whether it's a relationship with a friend or coworker, a spouse or whatever. Yes, absolutely yes. And then every now and then you have to be in my world where it's like you're dealing with people and they come in and tell you a story and you're like, wait a minute, what? What happened? You know what I'm saying? People get abused, assaulted, molested, people get raped, people get violated, people live in violence. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, there's stories that like we don't come back from sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We got to be able to digest that a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But when it comes to infidelity, which is what we were talking about, there are so many good examples that can tell you there is life after infidelity. There is stronger marriages. Of course, 50%, it's just responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it can happen. And going back to what the Bible says, that's God transforming us because we are unfaithful to God all the time. And there's so many examples in the Bible about
Lord
that.
is going to Bible throw you all day long.
It can.
Well, my point is that infidelity is human nature, just like lying, just like wrinkles, just like gray hair, just like broken bones.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunately part of hurting each other. Is just part of our selfish nature.
Yeah,
and it's never going to change until the other side.
Yeah.
Up in heaven.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out how much are we willing to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And if this person was unfaithful to me for this reason, but is a good person at heart, that person deserves a second chance. And if I've done something like that and I prove it to my spouse that I'm a good person, which just was stupid, then maybe he will give me a second chance. And there's a big difference about being a habitual liar when I don't take your feelings into consideration at all whatsoever, non-zero zip, and I'm enjoying the lie and enjoying the double face, But something else is just being stupid, being caught up in the situation and then regretting it. and wanted to
Why do you
leave
think the Bible then says that the only permission for a divorce is unfaithfulness?
because it is against God's nature. God is faithful.
Okay, but why does he say because of that?
But the same way that the Bible says that that God told people that their sinful hearts needed something.
Mm-hmm.
Just like God did not create polygamy. God did not create it. He wanted one and one. But how many people in the Old Testament had more than one wife? Was that God's original intention to have more than one wife?
Well, no, but
Exactly.
You're comparing two things that are apples and oranges. You're saying polygamy. He never says you can have polygamy. He says you can divorce your spouse for this reason.
Exactly, because people were being unfaithful.
Yeah, but why would he say that's the one reason?
Because it's against his nature.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm saying there's a lot of things that are against his nature.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So why would it's almost like you're saying, hey, everyone who ever cheats,
It's
they
a conscious choice. I mean,
they always deserve a second chance.
No.
that's exactly what I said. They don't. Not every situation is exactly the same.
No, but I'm saying if it sounded like you were saying every person who is in a marriage who is unfaithful, they deserve a second chance.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay. Tell us again what you're saying. Tell us. So they don't deserve a second chance.
Every situation is
Every
unique.
situation is different. Okay. So,
if
but
you got a
sounded like
person who goes out of their way to cheat, like out of their way.
Yeah.
Like they know they're meeting up with somebody. They're taking a flight and going to see them to spend a weekend with them. That's not a mistake. That's like you plan this shit out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like no. That's you're on a whole nother level.
But it sounds like what you're doing is you're all kind of agreeing about the idea that the reason it would validate the infidelity validates the divorce if the infidelity is grievous enough. Like if the person committing the infidelity is grievous enough in their actions, meaning that it's not just like, oh, they tripped and fell on somebody at work and smashed them. It's like it's like no, they plotted or they planned or it went on for time or it was in depth or it was the depth of a relationship or all these other factors. How long did it go on or all these factors? I'm saying to you, have you ever looked at the passage in reverse and thought, oh, well, maybe Jesus is saying, I'm permitting this because the person who's been transgressed against, the pain is so deep, their broken hearts can't get back to a place where they can be one again.
I guess.
Like the cheater?
It's like
No, the person who's been cheated on.
The cheated on, yeah.
Meaning that he
can't come back to.
She brings up this part of the passage where Jesus says, because of we live in this evil world, because of your broken hearts, I'm permitting this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming that the broken hearts is on the transgressor. I'm saying, what if the broken heart part is on the person who's been transgressed against?
It's against both of them. Because living also with the guilt of hurting somebody that I used to love and now I don't love, and the social repercussions and the embarrassment and, oh, this person is a cheater.
Yeah,
don't trust him or don't trust her,
It can be rough.
That social embarrassment is a big deal too.
Yeah.
Even on the other side, whether they divorce or they don't divorce.
Mm.
Yeah, that follows you.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of crap follows you around.
If you could go back, based upon what you know now, right? But if you had the option, like if you thought to yourself, I have the option, even though I've been through a bunch of stuff with my spouse, if I had to entertain the idea that they had been unfaithful years ago, would I want to know now?
No.
After all that we've been through and all that we've built and all that we've accomplished, would I want to go back and have to deal with that?
No.
If it's my choice, no.
Yeah.
But if, let's say, if the other person wants to, amends?
Yeah.
Make
Like
amends.
they want to
Make
get it off their
amends.
Make
chest.
amends. Yeah, but that's all they're doing is just going like this. Oh, I don't want to carry this anymore, and dump it on you.
Yes.
Yeah, but hold on. You do realize that
Yes.
one of the caveats
Mm-hmm.
to making amends in the program, there is one caveat.
No, I don't know about it. But
Okay. The
tell me all
caveat
about
is
it.
I make amends as long as it doesn't hurt the other person.
Mm.
That's the caveat in the program.
So, for example,
Charlie's like, absolutely not. Everybody's hurt and life is pain.
Colleen's like, tell it all.
No, because it's one of those, I'd rather know the truth in the moment. I would hate to find out,
Later on.
years later. Because yes, you go back and you're like, well, how do I know that you felt the same way for me all these years after?
But knowing what I'm saying, I'm saying, like, let's say, God forbid, but I'm saying if Dell was carrying this around for 10 years, 20 years, knowing all that you've built and accomplished now, you'd want to know that happened in year one.
Yeah.
Wow. I got to tell you, I would be on the other side. I would not want to
Hell
know.
no, don't tell me. I'm good.
I'm like, take
I'm
that to
hang
the
out.
grave, girlfriend.
Take that to the grave. Don't tell me. I don't want
But
to
I'd
know.
rather find out then than
what for?
What if
to-
you never found out?
But what
If
for?
the options
There-
were
there's-
find out then or never find out.
there's no chance of never finding out.
He's done 20 years. He hasn't told you.
No, I still would rather find out.
I'm on that other end. I'm like, please.
I
do
wouldn't
not
wanna
tell
know.
me.
But what would you do with that information?
I'd work through it.
But you did
God
20
bless
years.
you.
You
God
already-
bless-
already worked through it.
God
You
bless this
already
woman.
did for 20
God
years.
bless this woman.
Yeah, you've already worked through it. You worked 20 years through
Yeah.
it. You just didn't even know it.
No, I'd rather find out.
Oh, no.
Not after
You've
that
been
many.
cheated on?
Not after
You've
that
been
many
cheated
years.
on?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I was on the other side.
yes,
You've been on the other side? You were the cheater? Ooh.
Bum,
You were the
bum,
cheater?
bum.
I was in high school.
Oh, and everybody was a cheater in high school. High school was a free for all.
Yeah, that was about it. Yeah, but yeah,
High school was a free for all. But you got cheated on
yes.
in a marriage?
I was never married.
Oh, that's your loophole there. Okay, so you've gotten a long way without getting married in your life.
A long way.
You've gotten a long way.
Yeah.
But you were in a significant relationship for a long time.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How'd you find out?
The internet.
Told you there's nothing
turned
secret.
into a
These girls are
Into a
sneaky.
special
Nothing
spy.
private.
I became a detective. I did.
Yeah.
Wore wigs and all.
Oh my God. Okay. Listen, I'd like to make an announcement. We're going to have Jess back for a one-on-one on that.
Yeah.
There's no way we can cover it all tonight because I want to hear about the wigs. Do you have any pictures? Gee,
No, I don't have pictures. That was the whole point. Back then, you didn't have, there was
No evidence,
No,
no
no
crime.
evidence. No.
Oh,
I rented a car and all.
wow.
Yeah. I became a huge detective. I had to find out facts. I had to get 100% proof, and I did, and that was it.
And you
But I
done it.
needed.
You were
yeah.
stunned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No second thought.
Nope.
No, like, hey, we'll work through this.
Absolutely not.
No, I love you.
Nope.
You're the love of my life.
Nope.
If she went through all that trouble to find out,
Yeah.
she only wanted him to know.
What if?
I've known for this
This
time,
long. Yep.
and I'm
What
done
about
with
you
your
on the opposite side?
behind.
You didn't think to yourself, "Let me work this out."
No, I was so out of it
Yeah.
before I decided to step out in the marriage
Yeah.
that it was just like,
It's almost like you were doing it to end the marriage.
I just did not want to change my financial situation. I did not want to change the financial situation. I didn't want to go through all that trouble, which
The divorce was
Eventually-
just too much trouble. The divorce was just too much financial trouble.
It was just a lot of work, is what it was.
and then when you are so empty like that, you just don't,
yeah.
Mhm.
you just get so
That's
caught
fair.
up. So
That is
That's
true.
fair.
I think the marriage ended probably like 2 years before I actually had the affair, and I just was living day
Yeah.
by day. And
Yeah.
he was living with a roommate for 3 years, and he didn't worry about it. So,
Yeah. Life is crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy.
and he never asked me to work it out
No.
because I think we were both done with it. I
Yeah.
just made it more obvious.
Yeah. Life, it's so funny, right? Like if someone would have pulled you aside when you were like 15 and said, "Hey, here's what the next 30 years are going to look like."
You see how he keeps looking at me?
No, I'm just saying, like,
He keeps
it's
looking
crazy,
at me like,
right? Like,
right,
it's
Sam?
crazy what we lived through.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy what we lived through. You don't think of it because it's so cumulative over a long period of time. that when you sit down and start looking, you're like, man, I've been through some stuff in my. And if you
Shit.
had told me this at 15, I don't know if I'd have been ready for this. Like,
I wasn't
if
ready.
you'd have told me this, I'd have been like, no way, not me.
Absolutely.
And here we are. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Nobody like launches out into life planning this.
For sure.
You end up and you're like,
What?
what happened?
How did I get
Yeah.
here?
Or after so many years, you look back and go, wow, like I went through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was just, and everything almost seems like a blur. Like all of it was just this blur.
Yeah. All right. Last thing. I want your response on this. I asked the guys these exact same questions. We posted the podcast today. So now, whenever you're seeing this, podcast people, listeners, you'll be hearing this probably a week later. Everybody pretty much said what you said to begin with. And it took them about 15 minutes to all go, no, I probably wouldn't interject. I probably would just make a deal with with the son-in-law or the son, whoever was cheating, tell them they had to shape up. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody.
I feel like there's so many
Variables?
variables. There's so many
But are you
variables.
surprised
with
that the
it.
guys kind of got to that point quicker than the ladies? And are you surprised that
The men, first of all, the men don't want to get involved to begin with, let alone like they're
That is
checked out.
true.
Like they're like, do I really want to deal with? I mean, half of them don't even want to deal with their own shit, let alone somebody else's problems.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, they did consider it they considered it almost like a little bit of a position of integrity to say, some of them, that was like, hey, I'm not sure I should be interjecting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Which is, I mean, and I think that all of us, even as a mom, you always second guess, is this really the right decision? Should I
Yeah.
really be interjecting? But then something takes over from like your mom vibe takes over and goes, yeah, but you want to know what? This is my daughter. Like, this is my blood. This is like,
You wouldn't discuss it, though? You wouldn't think you would discuss it at some level with your spouse? You wouldn't discuss it with Del? You wouldn't be like, hey,
I mean,
I
yeah.
found this out. We need to
I
talk about
would,
this.
but he and I would be on the same
on
page.
the same page. Yeah, I
But-
feel like Ray would do the same
But
thing.
also, like, my relationship with the kids
really would.
is so different than
Yeah.
Dell's relationship with the kids.
Right.
Like, I'm for sure 100% closer to them,
Yeah.
but Dell has traveled a lot for work.
Yeah.
So I have, there's been times that I've had to raise them by myself for multiple months.
Yeah.
So yes, my relationship is a lot different. And that's why, and I've always told them that we're open and honest. I mean, now they know like everything that has gone on, problems, ups and downs in my relationship with Dell. I have now, since they're adults, I've told them, hey, this is what's happened. It's going to probably happen to you in life because that's just part of life, so it's all in your relationship with your kids. Your relationship with your kids is different than my relationship with my kids. And us as moms have different relationships with our kids than, dads have with kids.
Yeah.
And when you have spouses, I mean, like, in I just said that Ray would just, Ray would kind of just fall in line with whatever I would say. Well, that's just because for him, I mean, I may have to like stop him right from the jump to kind of not make any like rash, stupid choices or decisions. But at the end of the day, what he says to me is what he always says to me when it comes to the kids, like we'll talk about stuff. But at the end of the day, he goes, I trust you. And I know that whatever choice you make, I'm going to stand behind whatever you think because I know that you would never steer this family wrong. That's his kind of the way he always goes about it. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't care. It just is what it is. But that's how it's always been. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even if I were to say, hey, listen, this is kind of the situation that has occurred. This is what went down. This is kind of how I feel about it. What's your opinion on it? And most of the time, and anything that I ever have a conversation with him, and I feel like Del would probably be the same way in a sense where he's like, hey, listen, I got your back. Whatever it is that you think is the right thing to do is what we'll do. And go with that.
Yeah. You don't have to consult anybody, huh?
No.
Jess is like, I'm out. I'm doing what I want.
Decide what I want.
I mean, I would tell him this is what I'm doing. He might say, I don't care.
Oh,
It's what I'm going to do.
Loris, what do you think? What do you think Sean would say?
Oh, he will support me. He will
He would say whatever it is that you.
No, he will give me his opinion in the matter. Like maybe yes, maybe no. But he said, "But do your thing.
You're gonna
Do your thing."
My favorite thing that Ray tells me all the time is you're going to do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do anyway.
That's exactly what
Uh-huh.
Del says to me.
So I'm just here to support and anything that you need support with.
That's exactly what it is. I mean,
You're going to
my
do it
my
whether I
fiance
tell
would
you
tell
not
my
to or
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would tell me what he thought about it, but he'd be like, "Okay, but you're going to do it anyway." So
So just know that I told you not to.
yeah,
Mhm.
he'll throw
If this
that.
goes south, I'm going to tell you I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
You think of it like, can you imagine a world where I'm gonna get myself into trouble?
Go ahead,
We
Mike.
got to wrap this up.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'll
Let's
leave
hear
it on
this.
this, and then we'll have this particular panel back, and I want you to think about this question. Do you think there's in your mind, not that it exists in reality, because this panel, it doesn't, okay? But in your mind, can you imagine a life where instead of feeling like you had to make the decision about how you would handle any parenting or family or financial or structural decision from a family, you could relax and trust that the person you were with would make the right decision?
That's what husbands do all the time.
No, that's not what you said.
That's what
Everyone in this
husbands
panel
do
just said,
all
I'm going to do what I
the
want. And the right thing for him to do is support what I want. I'm saying, wouldn't it be interesting in a world to say, oh, I don't know what I'd do. And that's okay because I trust the person I'm with.
Well, the reason why we said this now is because there is a history. It's a history of lack of involvement
No.
or lack of suggestion. And then we find
I'm saying,
I'm
saying in an idealistic world out there that doesn't exist now. We agree.
Gotcha.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't
Can you
exist
imagine that being enjoyable?
It exists for some people,
Can
but
you
we're
imagine
like,
that being
what
enjoyable?
is wrong with you?
Can you imagine it being enjoyable?
I mean, it would be a lot less stressful.
Mm.
It would be a
It
lot
wouldn't be
less
stressful?
stressful.
Wouldn't be less stressful?
No, it will not be less stressful. No.
Okay. Think it'd be less stressful?
Somebody else taking.
I would hope that it would be less stressful, but I don't think that's. I mean, I think our society and our culture now is that, you know, it's most of the time it's, you know, you have a conversation and you talk amongst. Well, it's supposed to be where you have a conversation and you talk about things and then you go from there, I guess.
If you play this back, your exact words were, we're not going to have a conversation. I'm going to do what I want.
I didn't say that mine was the norm. I'm just saying that's, you know, that's how my household runs. How other people's household runs is not the same. But I mean, you know, in a normalcy, it's supposed to run where you have two people that are a husband and wife and have a conversation about what they're going to do. And then they move on together to do that stuff. In my household, it's not the same. Kind of like with Colleen. A lot of times I was a mom on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, throughout my 15 years.
I'm saying not a reality, in a fantasy world.
Well, I mean, there's not necessarily a fantasy world. I know there's got to be people like that still.
Mm-hmm.
We're missing your point. It's not happening.
It's not happening. Even in the fantasy
The
world, it wouldn't
hypothetical
happen?
is not happening.
It doesn't happen. You don't think it happens?
No, what I'm saying is that we cannot figure out the hypothetical because we continue coming back to reality reality.
Yeah, that's
To
exactly.
Our reality
I
is
would
our
love
reality.
to get you guys back to talk about the hypothetical.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, I think it's a great idea. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much. That's as far as we go for today. Love you, man. See ya.